Hi, this is Chris Davis for SlashGear.com, and today we're looking at the HTC Touch HD. It's the latest smartphone from the company. It's getting quite a lot of interest, not least because of its 3.8-inch WVGA touchscreen. Now that's 800 by 480 resolution. Other specifications include HSDPA and HSUPA for maximum 7.2 megabit per second downloads, depending on your network. It's also got Wi-Fi B and G and Bluetooth 2.1. Around the back, there's a 5 megapixel camera with autofocus but no flash, and there's also, in a bit of a change for HTC and much awaited one, a standard 3.5mm headphone socket. Just kind of going around the smartphone, there's the power button there which also locks the device. Along here there's rocker control for volume. On the bottom there's HTC's universal mini USB connector which will work with headsets from the company and different cables, and they do provide a stereo headset with a microphone for hands-free use. Down here is the stylus, because this is a resistive touchscreen and not a capacitive one such as on the iPhone, and no controls along the side. Along the front there are capacitive buttons rather than hardware ones. There's start call, home, back and end call there. And the phone vibrates slightly when you touch them, which you probably can't see. On the screen it's HTC's normal TouchFlow 3D user interface, which is laid on top of Windows Mobile Professional 6.1 and makes things a lot more finger friendly. It adds gestures so you can swipe from side to side. To go to the different apps, and each one has different contextual menus. So for instance here in music we can go into repeat, shuffle, properties, add to playlist, and audio booster. What a lot of people have been particularly interested in seeing is how the Touch HD copes with things like web pages. Obviously the iPhone 3G has the mobile Safari browser, which is very well thought of. HTC have selected Opera's browser, so we can go into that, and I've basically just restarted the phone now, so this is, you're seeing everything load up as it would load up itself. Starts you off with a customized search page. We've had a couple of questions about whether it will support things like BBC iPlayer. Unfortunately it won't. I did try that earlier on and it won't play the streaming videos. There's a dedicated YouTube app for doing that, and I'll show you that in a little while. The phone has an accelerometer, so if you turn it, eventually the orientation does flip round. Backlight's gone off there, and there's a button there to bring up different controls, such as to go to new tabs and that kind of thing. Opera does seem to have a strange habit of only allowing you to have 3 tabs open at once, unlike Safari on the iPhone, which will allow up to 8, which does seem to be a bit of a disappointment. The great thing obviously about such a high resolution screen is that you can show a lot more on it at one time. Now there's no hardware keyboard, but if we go to something like SlashGear for instance, at the moment we're browsing over Wi-Fi rather than HSDPA, though I do have a HSDPA signal, that's on the O2 network. Now if you can zoom in by double tapping, obviously there's no multi-touch on this touchscreen. Click on SlashGear there. You have a loading bar along the bottom, as well as a zoom control, which allows you to zoom in manually as opposed to tapping. So as you can see, in terms of page rendering there, you're fitting quite a lot onto the screen without needing to pan around, and the text, although maybe I'm not sure if you can see it on the video, the text is still readable even at the maximum zoom level. Going back to the home screen, something else we've been asked about is the media player and what that can play. Now I did try loading on a couple of high definition clips downloaded in Windows Media Video format from Microsoft's own site. Unfortunately, neither the 720 or the 1080p resolution ones work. They just kick up an error in the media player, which I think should come up now. Just tell us that the parameter is incorrect. However, there is a video that, just going back there, that HTC preload on it just to show you an example of the quality. Something else we've been asked about is the YouTube player on the HTC Touch HD. You get to it by going to the Programs tab in TouchFlow 3D, and the app itself allows you to log into your normal YouTube account. You can rate different videos, search through them. You can also browse through the latest videos that day and go through different categories. It's very similar to the YouTube video viewer on the iPhone 3G. So here you have the latest top rated videos there. You can pull down program guide there and see different categories, autos and vehicles for instance, and then there is a pause while it downloads obviously those latest videos and the preview thumbnails for them, and that will depend on the speed of your connection. So at the moment we're browsing on Wi-Fi on not a particularly fast cable connection. Over HSDPA the chances are it will be a little bit slower. You can bookmark them, browse through your history, what videos you've been watching, and there's a search as well. And the great thing is this keyboard, while still obviously suitable for you to use the stylus with, you can also use your fingers. The buttons are just large enough to do that, though they do lack the little preview keys that you would normally get above the letter on the iPhone. Something else people have been interested in is how Google Maps works. It's basically the same implementation that you might have seen on other HTC smartphones, but obviously with a much larger screen to play with. So it still drags around either by the stylus or by your finger. Zooming is done by these buttons rather than obviously the pinching zooming that you would find on an iPhone. Under the menu you can choose directions. There's the satellite view, which obviously takes a little while to download. You can zoom in by double clicking, but not zoom out the same way. There's also an ability to show the traffic if there's data for that in the area. GPS, because the Touch HD does have GPS built in, as well as a program which will speed up acquisition times by downloading data about where you are periodically. And you can set favourites as well.